So my first question is, are you breastfeeding currently?
Yes, I am.
Yes, I'm currently breastfeeding 2 children, actually.
Yes.
No, Ellie is 3.5, and she's almost 4, and we weaned when she was 3.5.
And
Yes.
what are some tactics that you use to be able to breastfeed in public comfortably?
Mostly about Torben and I making us comfortable, and that's usually a physical, like just he's getting big, so it's hard to hold him, especially if I'm walking around or doing something. So I do tend to use baby carriers. This one's a ring sling, but I have wraps and various ways to hold him to me. And then I can just lower him to a point where he can easily latch. And the nice thing about it too is that it covers me pretty well, so I don't worry too much about people seeing anything.
I would say breastfeeding in my car before going into a place is one way.
I generally wear breastfeeding friendly clothes. This is not an example of one, so one that, pulls up really easily around buttons or has like a loose drape, and I can pull it down.
Got bonnets, like big baby bonnets, so that when the baby was nursing, it couldn't see the things that were passing. And Ellie was like that. If she saw something, she wanted to know what was going on, so she would unlatch. So those were the only real tools.
Did you ever experience a negative encounter with public due to having your breast out?
I didn't in public. A friend of mine who was in my living room, and that made me kind of creepy because it's my living room, but Ellie was there, and she was old enough to make it very clear what she wanted. She was like pulling at my shirt. She knew what she wanted. And I just started, and I said something to my friend because she was thinking about having children. I said something like, "Oh, you get used to it." And she said something like, "Well, I'll get used to it when it's mine." And she got up and walked away.
We were at an Indian restaurant, and we're one of 2 tables. And what's interesting is the other table had given me the thumbs up, but the owner came by and tried to place a napkin over him. Nursing in toddlerhood is a bit more difficult than nursing an infant. In Iowa City area, any festival you go to has a nursing mother's tent. The Hy-Vees and a lot of public places are starting to put up rooms specifically for nursing and pumping mothers. But there's still a big stigma about nursing toddlers. Several of the groups I'm in, all these have a lot of moms with toddlers, and I've heard a lot of things recently about comments being made or peer pressure for the toddlers from other children and other parents, making them feel uncomfortable to nurse in public.
We're about to enter the brave new world of toddler breastfeeding. That opens up a whole new set of fears because somehow people think it's okay to comment on how your baby's too old to be breastfeeding, and so because for some reason, as soon as they hit 1, suddenly they've got to stop breastfeeding, right? They should only eat grown-up food. Yeah, I think it does have to do with the hypersexualization of breasts, that somehow a child who can speak is going to be somewhat more aware, or it's somehow more sexual if the child is not a really tiny, incapable person. People just worrying about ruining your child, that somehow they're gonna be confused about breasts because of that. If everything else that they see is sexualized, then isn't that little boy gonna sexualize his mom's breasts too? And so really, I think that's what's in the back of people's minds, whether they can articulate it or not.
What do you feel like your breasts were meant to be used for?
Me. However it makes me feel good to use them, and that is both for me sexually and for me feeding my baby. Both make me feel good, and I'm going to use them for both.
Like, I would literally nurse her to sleep, and then I would want to have sex, and it was like, what is this? But as soon as I let go of any of my hang-ups, like, it's kind of like a lot of things where you get to set the tone, like you get to decide what it's like. And if you say to your partner, like, yeah, they're giant, yeah, sometimes they like milk, but that's what's going on, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, like, I don't care, it's fine, that's what I'm doing now, I'll do that later, it's no big deal. But I don't like the idea that they're just for nursing. They were for that for a while. Now they're for whatever I want them for, filling out clothes, sex, whatever.
Today, right now, they're food. Later, there'll be arousal for my husband. Later after that, there'll be, a sexual tool for me. And so being able to claim all 3 of those and realizing I'm in charge of when they happen